Let me just get us launched here. Welcome in, everybody. Once again, my name is Caleb Schilke. This is the Ascended Podcast, and we're here to make you better, one day at a time. I appreciate everybody for taking the time tonight to pay attention to a very important lesson, let alone message of an opportunity to make a change in your life. Too many of you guys are just doing your own thing. You're just playing Fortnite. You're just sitting on the couch. You're just asking yourself, more importantly, how do I change my life? What should I be doing to make the world around me better? And honestly, it doesn't feel like there's much, right? Feels like we're kind of helpless, that we don't have the power to make change. We don't have the opportunity to make a larger impact on the betterment of society. And so what do? Well, you just sit around watching corn on your phone. You just sit around just thinking about God knows what, talking to whoever, not really dialing in on something productive. And I want to let you know, guys, as much as it feels hopeless, there's a way out of this. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I've been there, guys. I've been in dark despair, but here we are, shining out brightly. As corny as it sounds, and I love you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. And honestly, it means a lot that we're doing this. It means a lot that the Ascended Podcast is a thing, that you guys we get to hang out on these evenings like this. And I wouldn't give that away really for anything. I might just shed a tear here, just thinking about how sad this all is, but it's like a happy sad, right? So without further ado, let's get into it. Today's topic is that you're not poor, you're just being programmed. And the result of that programming feels like poverty. The program is built by someone, right? It's always built by something. Think about like a computer program. They trained you, right? You are trained to execute a certain procedure. The real question is who trained you, not how you're trained. You already know the issues in your life. You already know the mistake that you've made. And if you don't think that we're being misled, if you don't think that there's false narratives to motivate you, then you need to listen to this more than anyone else. They trained you to chase GPA, not ROI, because one keeps you stuck and one sets you free. And trust me, I went to one of the nicest universities in the country. I had to grind my ass off to get there. I was a nerd. I was involved in, school 24/7. That's maybe why I'm able to host this and have the knowledge I do, but that didn't lead to financial success like I thought it would. It led to a good job, but it didn't create independence. It created dependence on still an employer, just a nicer cage than anyone else typically lives in. But that's not how you break the system. That's not how you change the result of the system. It just lets you operate it inside of it a little bit more comfortably. But guess what? More taxes, when the real breaks really go to those that are at the very top, and you just still feel just as trapped as anyone else. They told you to follow passion, but then they sold you antidepressants, numbing your feelings, taking you away from what really matters, blaming some external factor on you simply being broken. Not the fact that there maybe was a warning sign coming through all of that. They said that if you can't think clearly, you need medication. Do you? Do you really? Maybe your brain is firing off the proper warning signals, the same ones that kept humans moving in the right direction all of history. And instead, they told you to interpret that as a threat to your existence and that you should numb that. That same intuition that keeps you dedicated to something important, that sends out warning signs when your business is about to make a bad risk. When you're numb to all feeling, you're numb to all feeling. And not only does that impact your current mood, but it impacts your performance and your ability to make something better of yourself. You think you're choosing your life, but in reality, you're following a script written by people who never really wanted you to win. Tonight, we're going to expose the science of staying poor, what it is, how it works, and the systems that profit from your mediocrity. I'm Caleb Schulke, guys. Again, I've already said this, I've already done the introduction, but I want to let you know my mission. I've been in the rough spot. I grew up in the middle of the country, guys, a small town. I was never like a rich city inheritance trust fund kid. I work with the military. I'm just an average guy, but I like to say that I'm not average in the awakeness that I've experienced. I've been through a lot in life. I've inspired others. I've sold companies already. I built a lot out of myself up to this point at the age of 24. And it feels like I've lived an entire life already, and I have another one yet to live. In this next life, after achieving the success that I've been able to carve out for myself, I want to give back and show you guys that not only am I not done, but I've learned something that is valuable to people in my generation, people that will have to not only live with the consequences of the world we live in now, but also have the responsibility of reshaping it. And I believe in that. I believe in humankind surviving. As much as the other things you hear online of people saying, I don't care, AI is going to win anyway, I actually care. And I wouldn't be here talking to you thinking that my words have a meaning if I didn't somewhat believe in that. Tonight, we're going to expose what it really means to stay poor. But first, I want to talk about how it works. How is your operating system programmed? Just like code, right? A computer is only going to execute within the boundaries you set for it, within the code you write for it. You ever feel like your thoughts really aren't your own? You ever feel like there's just something going on behind the scenes? That something is planted in your head and you just can't shake it. I know I sound crazy right now, right? But the truth is, most people believe that their beliefs are their own beliefs. They believe that they're theirs. They believe that you always chose to have this religious background, that you had this political ideology, that you always believed in this moral code. But in reality, first of all, a lot of it comes from your parents, let alone other people. And you don't really realize how that takes effect in your mind until you actually dissect it. And that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to challenge a version of reality so deep in you that you're going to leave this being fully enlightened, being fully awakened, and it's going to feel uncomfortable. And so I would advise you that if you're uncomfortable making yourself better, first of all, that's exactly where you should be. But if you can't even handle that, then I don't think this is the place for you. Because if you truly care about yourself, just like the gym, right? It means you're going to go through a little bit of pain, waking up, realizing things in the reality of the world. But that's also going to allow you the opportunity to fix it. And if you care about staying stuck in your problems and not fixing them, then this is not the place for you. If you want the pain and the responsibility linked to that pain of fixing your reality, of changing the trajectory in your life, then you are in the right spot. And welcome in. Downloads, like a computer, right? Think about software being downloaded onto your mainframe. It's like installed, like an app, right? In the App Store. Fed through your parents, your schools, social media. They're all systems that none of us really chose. You love your parents, you love your family, but did you choose them? Did you come out of the womb saying, I'm glad I picked those people? No. They taught you how to speak. They taught you how to walk. They clothed you. And we all love our families, right? I love my parents. I wouldn't trade them for the world. But you also have to understand that those people that you call your parents are just human beings too. One day it will be you. And therefore, when you step into that role, just like most new parents will say, you're going to realize how scary it feels. Your parents felt the same fear, and they did the best that they could with what they had. But you also have to understand that doesn't make them God. They weren't perfect, and they have flaws. And as much as it seems like they never made a mistake, some of you, it's very clear that they did make mistakes. You need to challenge their beliefs, because otherwise you're doing them a disservice by showing them that they basically made a conformable object. They didn't make a person that could think for themselves. And that's not respecting the rights and the liberty that your parents gave you to exist. So if you care about that, guys, explore, challenge your ideologies. I used to think I had it all figured out. I used to think I still do, maybe in some ways. And maybe that's the ignorance that I have, but also drives me to take action like I am here. I used to think I had it all figured out, that I was just Mr. Big Shot. My high school buddies, And I idolized, right? Just getting the straight A's. We used to be like, well, you know what? You failed history, or you got, I mean, failed, right? But you got like a B plus when I got an A minus. And I was comparing that, especially when I got into the Air Force Academy. It was all like high standards, high excellence. If you're getting B's, you're frowning because that's just the standard around there. And college scholarships, guys, these things just are motivational factors that drive out the best in what we call the best in people, right? But in reality, it's just the people that can play the game the best. And a few years out, we realized that none of us were happier, that the A plus versus the A never really gave a damn in the impact, we'll just say. It just left us broke, stressed, probably medicated off the thought that we were winning when in reality we weren't. I want you guys to think about school for a second as a concept. School taught test taking. It taught the ACT, the SAT, filling in the bubble, not going past the section you were in, waiting for others to catch up, not excelling, doing good, just good enough, right, to stand out in the class, but not good enough to, skip a grade, right? Because you had to stay within your people. Don't go out too far behind the lanes. Stay where you're at. They drill us on calculus, on math, on history, on English, but they never teach basic financial literacy. And you might think, well, it doesn't seem like a core, existence of the world topic. But in reality, it has the largest impact on your survival. So why isn't it taught? Well, frankly, it's because school is obedience training. It's not an entrepreneurship boot camp. If they told everyone they're going to be successful, that would kind of be delusional, because to be successful, you have to, by definition, stand out from the crowd. To be exceptional, you have to be the exception. And so when 70% of people are barely going to make it, 29% of people are going to do all right, and 1% of people are going to truly thrive, telling everyone they're going to make it is very much so delusional. And you wonder why that's a problem nowadays. When we have to butter everyone's biscuit, because it's just not the reality of how things work. The same classrooms that teach history or literature never show you how money is not only functions, but how it's made, right? How was money ever made? When did it happen? When did it exist? Did you ever learn why money started? How the money system operated? Or did you have to find that out on your own? What day, what class, what year in school did you learn how money actually worked in your history lessons? Who made it? Why did they make it? Kind of funny, right? But we get Excel instead of financial strategy. We get email and Gmail instead of entrepreneurship and tech startups. Language is a weapon too. They don't just say get a job, right? Even though you say that to your buddies. I say that to my buddies all the time just because I don't like the job they have. I think it's funny. They're just kind of nerdy cyber guys, but they say find security, not just get a job. Find security. Find something safe. Don't step beyond the boundaries. What are you doing? That's just going to get you attention you don't like. Probably the same type of getting here. They don't call rent a trap. They call rent freedom, right? Because you're not tied down. You're just renting. That gives you flexibility. Well, I'm still in a contract. I'm just in a maybe more comfortable contract, paying more money with the right to leave, but it's still a trap. It sounds comforting, right? But if rent were freedom, then why are so many of us struggling at 30? Nothing about that should sound free to you. In school, you learn to follow rules. You just never learn how to build actual wealth. Why? If wealth could be achieved like they say it can, and that's the media message, right? Startup, create your own success, find a way to make it. This was the same message I received. Thankfully, I survived the storm. I found a way to persevere, to make a clothing brand, and to sell that off to an investor. But in reality, I was never taught any of this. I had to figure all of it out by myself. And not only in that time period that I did it, but most people would have thought the whole time that I was crazy, that I was like weird for focusing on entrepreneurship, when I actually knew that that was probably the only choice I had to be free instead of the freedom they sold me. They don't say employer, they say security as well. And they don't say rent trap, they say freedom. Every word is coded to keep you compliant. Ultimately, your thoughts aren't yours. They're curated. You're not free. I'm sorry, but you never were. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you start to wake up, right? It's starting to feel uncomfortable, the things I'm saying. We're not even into it yet, but you can feel that unease. You think I'm lying to you, but deep down you feel something in your gut, right underneath your rib cage, saying, maybe he has a point. Maybe the guy who broke the system, who built a business, who sold that business, and is now building another business, maybe he has a point if he found a way to win. Because I do. I have a point. The first step to fixing the malware inside your mind, the misinformation you have, and arguably the disinformation, because I would argue that some people purposely misled you. The first step is to notice it. And there's this thing called the great noticing. And I want you to be aware of people actually waking up. You ever realize why the term woke is so shunned upon? It's a bad word. Why is it bad to be woke? Why is it bad to think outside the system? Why is being woke this like leftist term almost? Because those people are deemed crazy, right? For challenging the way things work. Well, are things working perfectly right now? Maybe being woke, maybe challenging structures, maybe asking questions isn't a bad thing. It has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with your ability to think independently. So how do we do this? How is this happening to you? Why is this happening to you? Well, it all starts with a simple blueprint. And I call it, and I think the system calls it, the broke blueprint. Train obedience from day one. From day one, guys, you're praised for following directions, and you're punished for asking questions. You might not think you're punished in school for asking questions, but you have to go through extra effort just to question, right? You have to interrupt. You have to wait your turn, right? You can't just openly ask things. It's a very controlled manner, and it's up to the teacher to decide whether or not they respond to that question. There's an authority that has to permit your question to be answered. When they can, willingly rant to you all day. The goal is obedient workers. It's not ambitious thinkers. And if you can't see that very simple truth, then I don't think I'm going to get very far with you, frankly. Step 2, reward consumption. You got paid? Great. Now spend it on stuff that depreciates the moment you buy it. The second you drive that fucking Lamborghini off the lot, the second you drive that Aston Martin off the lot, it's depreciating. There goes 5 to 10% of the value. The second you drive it out of the parking lot, there goes your car. And you can't resell it for the same amount anymore. Why do you buy the boat? Why do girls love the guy that has a boat? The depreciating asset instead of the appreciating investments. Store brand success means shopping and subbing into the next shiny device or subscription. Why do you think the new iPhone is so hyped up and overpriced? Why do you think Netflix is such a big hit? Because it's easy, guys. It's a quick amenity. And flexing the subscription, right, for this is the flex, the first class flight, the lounge access at the airport, all things you have to upsell and charge for. That's not an accident. You're conditioned to feel happiness at the cash register. When you say, yes, I would like to donate 60 more cents to that starving child, where it's all a tax write-off for the company that gets to donate it, let's not mention. But step 3, inflate currency. The government prints more money. We know this. 80% of the money supplies came in the last 5 years. And we devalue your savings because the more of something there is, the more grass there is, the less valuable grass is. If grass didn't exist in your entire neighborhood, well, if you saw a patch of grass, you're going to say, well, that grass, that's not anywhere else. That's some really green grass. I appreciate that grass. It looks nice. But if it's all around you, you're not going to think twice to notice it, right? Same with the value of money. If money's everywhere, well, is it really valuable? What's the point of money then? If you could just pick it up off the street, why is it valuable? So when they print more, when it becomes easier to find on the street, let's say, then the stuff you already have is basically worthless. And therefore, the time it took you to earn that money is wasted. It's like watering down coffee. You drink the same amount, but you get less buzz. It's impacting you less. Your labor is slowly taxed by inflation. You don't pay a direct tax. There's just such a big movement right now to save money on taxes, which we just failed to do, let me mention, but we just increased inflation anyway. So you're still paying a tax, you just can't see it. Because you're not paying money out of your pocket. Too many of you simpletons can't process that. You just failed to pay. You failed to collect extra money for the amount that's getting added in. So it's like saying, hey, I'm going to take 10% of your money versus saying, I'm going to make your money 90% as valuable. That's the very simple way. And again, I don't think I can sell that to you guys even clearer. Step 4, once you inflate the currency, is sell distraction. So not only are you losing the value of your money, but what you're spending that money on doesn't really matter in the long term. Every notification, every headline, every rumor is designed to purposely scramble your mind. Anger, outrage, you name it. Prawn. I'm not going to say the word. It keeps you busy while the real game happens out of sight. As much as you watch the news, as much as you try to pay attention to the headlines, the real headlines are the things that happen behind the main headline. Whatever is on the news is not the real news. It's always covering something up. So look at what's happening in the world that isn't on the news at the time a big headline comes out. Because the bigger the headline on the news, the bigger the stuff that's really happening behind the scenes. And a lot of times the news is late. It happens after the fact. You don't hear about it for a while because it takes time to get reported. And something important already is taking place. But it makes you feel informed, right? And that misinformation, right? Thinking that you have the real news, thinking that you actually know what's going on in the world, when you're really just distracted by the pony show, is a scary thing. And finally, we get to step 5, punish awakening, which is what's happening to me right now. The algorithm won't push my content out on purpose because I'm challenging what it stands for. And I'm okay with that. But when you start asking questions, they shame you as a conspiracy theorist or a loser. I was already fine being a loser for getting good grades. I don't mind being a loser for being smart enough to challenge a system that everyone else is too blind to see, because it's made my life better. I've been able to see what businesses to start. That's why I had success in business, because I was always thinking one step ahead. And in a game where you're already 2 steps behind, thinking one step ahead keeps you alive. And it feels like we're 10 steps behind right now. So you better at least be thinking 5 or 6 steps ahead. And I'm barely doing that. So it makes me wonder where some of you guys are. Maybe they cancel you. First, they try to cancel you, right? They say they don't even cancel you publicly. They'll shut down your algorithm. My videos won't get views. Then eventually, if I find a way to persist that, which I am, and I have systems in place to do that, they'll call me a loser. They'll cancel me, call me a conspiracy theorist. They will shut me down publicly and say, don't listen to this guy. If I keep pushing from this point forward, they will do that. The next thing they'll do is accuse me of something. I'll get charges thrown at me. I'll get legal ramifications for speaking in the way I'm speaking, especially right now. And finally, they'll take it one step further. And you can imagine what that might be. The message is clear. You stay in line or you pay the price. You have to conform. In school, right? The second you didn't do the homework when it was homework time, the teacher notices. The teacher calls you out. That is conditioning for the way life really works. And if you think you have 100% freedom, we don't. You guys should know that. You can't shout fire in a movie theater, and you can't do most of the things they say you can do. At least not in the way you think. And if it sounds insane, remember, it's working. Because to find this podcast, you guys got lucky. Look how many people are watching. There's not a lot. I still put content out because I'm aware of this fact, and I have ways to mitigate that. And you guys might have seen me other places. That's how I mitigate it. Seriously. Remember being a kid and like getting an allowance, right? They taught us to spend carefully, just save a little bit of it, put it in the piggy bank, and do chores for extra cash. If you help mom, if you help dad mow the lawn, he'll give you $10, right? Like it's just extra chore money, right? But as adults, now our allowance comes in the forms of loans or credit cards. Hey, we'll give you this favor. We'll give you money, right? You got to pay that back. and that's the chore, but you don't get to see that on the front end. We're just going to give you money, right? We're the good guy. Debt becomes the adult version of allowance. We spend our children's inheritance like it's free because someone taught us that debt was normal. Think about it, right? You paying off your debt could go to you helping save for your children's inheritance. But instead, you thought debt was normal, and so why shouldn't I leverage the bank to grow? You're saying I'm beating the system by using debt, using someone else's money to help me out. But in reality, the stuff you're spending that money on is not useful. You're spending it on a boat, you're getting an auto loan, a car loan, all things that don't really matter. They don't. They don't. Because you can't sell that boat for the same amount of money you bought it at. You can't sell that car for the same amount of money you bought it at. You can sell a business for a lot more money than you bought it at if you're doing the right work. But too many of you guys don't do that. Because why? It's risky. But you know the bigger risk is not doing anything. Is buying stuff that you are guaranteed to lose money on and calling it winning in life. Having the nice boat, having the nice car, and thinking that you're ahead. But you're not. You never were because you didn't spend your money on the stuff that mattered. Is my mic on? All right. I got reconnected, guys. Sorry. Some of you guys got cut out here, and I feel bad. And so we're back on the stream here. My name is Caleb Schilke. This is the Ascended Podcast. I want to welcome you guys in with a message. Everything that you learned was indeed a lie. And I know that sounds like a bold claim to make, but think about it. Think about the reality of the world you live in. Think about the news headlines. Think about the things that happen behind it. Most of the things that I'm going to use to prove myself today are going to be Socratic. They're going to be you thinking about why things are happening. I can't call out institutions. I literally can't. I will get thrown in jail. I will get charges brought up against me. I cannot speak publicly. I know my UCMJ limits being a military member, and I'm going to stick very clearly within them because I care about my profession. I care about the impact I have with it. And I would like to see the system develop itself healthily from the inside. But with that said, I want you guys to be thinking critically about the way things happen and how reality actually is shaped. I'm going to start with an example. Remember being a little kid and getting an allowance. Maybe you helped your father mow the lawn, take out trash, pull weeds, whatever it's going to be. You got some extra money for it. Well, in reality, what happened was we got used to that a little bit. We got used to being fed money for doing basic tasks. And now it's expect to have to do something, right? Expect to do something first and then be able to get money. And then maybe work for it. We've gotten so dopamine infused. We've gotten so desperate for money and for benefit that we take out loans. We want the money on the front end. We want the car loan. We want the boat, all depreciating assets, might I mention, before, but we don't want to save up the money to do it. You guys listen to Dave Ramsey, right? He's got a point. Too many of you guys are too impatient to actually save for something that matters. And you're too eager to flex the depreciating boat, the depreciating car, instead of buying and investing in the appreciating business with tax write-offs, right? You're complaining about the bill. I would be complaining about it too in some ways. But tax write-offs can be open to anybody. And I'm getting tax write-offs. I can make tax write-offs off 5K of income. I'm not saying I agree with the bill. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to give an opinion on it because I can't. But I'm just saying, guys, I think too many people, what I will say, this is apolitical. I'm not siding with any party. I don't even think I want to side with a party right now. I don't know about that system in general right now, to be honest. But I'm trying to think of a politically correct way to say this. Too many of you are too sensitive to the way the system looks because you've never taken the time to educate yourself on ways to play a different game. And sure, I would say that that's some of your fault. I would also say it's not your fault because the system should have taught you how to play the game the right way. It should have taught you how to use tax write-offs. It should have taught you how to make a business. It should have taught you how to play the rules the right way and actually benefit your life. It's not your fault that it didn't. It's not your fault that people have put themselves in positions to take and take and take and leave you with nothing and tell you that it's fine. It's not fine. They told you to stay in school. It's free. It's public. There's no tuition. We're just going to tell you what to learn. We're going to tell you the reality of things. And you don't know better, so you're going to trust us. And that reality isn't perfect. It's not probably the truth in a lot of cases. Because anything that's free always comes with a price. And if school is free and you spent 18 years of your life in it, what do you think happened? Don't you think somebody got a benefit from that? A hidden cost. No such thing as a free lunch, right? So who paid the price for school? For you. It might be the taxpayers at a very surface level, but maybe it was you. Maybe the education itself that you learned cost you something. And that cost, as we'll explore today, might have been your freedom, your ability to think differently, to challenge the system as a whole, and to fit into the little boxes of left and right, of red and blue that keep us divided and keep you perfectly right where they want you. This isn't tinfoil conspiracy. This is cold hard psychology. They're literally keeping us busy, earning and spending. So we never question the game. And the craziest part is that it's working. It's working beautifully. Because the more your parents get divided, and they pass away, and they leave you. Well, you start there. You start with the values a lot of times they pass on to you. Then you drive yourselves a little bit further. Then you die. And then your kids start where you're at, push themselves a little bit further. We understand how we've gotten so polarized. Too many of you, first of all, are too quick to take on the views of your parents because it's the only system you know. And you don't have the critical thinking ability to challenge your parents. Your parents have disciplined you. They've told you not to disrespect or disobey them, which I understand. You want tolerance. But at a certain age, you have to question even your own ideologies that you think are the worldview that make up the best version of reality. Because at the end of the day, most parents that you could probably think, right, have all said the same thing. They said, I didn't feel ready to be a parent. There's never really a perfect amount of preparation to be a parent. And therefore, that means that your parents made mistakes, that they weren't perfect individuals, they weren't God, and they did the best with what they could. That's why we love them. But it doesn't mean they're right all the time. They might want to make you feel like they're the answer and you're just the objection to that. But a lot of times, the end goal of parents is to create a reality so your kids can do better things than you had the opportunity to. And sometimes that means your ability to critically think. I'm just going to leave that out there. And I will say that too many times in the system that is left and it's right, and if our parents fall into that, maybe the goal is exactly that, to drive us further into the ends, as you see behind me, of blue and red. There's a dark alchemy that keeps us distracted. It's called dopamine, and it's all over the place. I'm going to tell you guys that it's on purpose. Every scroll, every swipe, every tweet isn't content. It's control. Think about it. You become dependent. Why do you think social media platform people that are on Facebook or on Instagram are called users? What other position have you heard the term users in? Users of alcohol? Users of drugs? Users of social media? Not members, right? They're called users. Let that sink in. Your phone is a leash. The more you consume, the less you create. And the less you create, the more you depend on people to create for you. And in this case, if everything comes from social media, and that is the control mechanism around your life, it's what feeds you information. You become dependent on it. Do you know why it feels uncomfortable to sit and binge videos? Why you feel so kind of disgusted at yourself? It's because we're naturally designed biologically, some would even say spiritually, to create. We are creative. We build tools. We build houses. We create fires. Humankind, right? We're animals at heart. And these are things that we do. We look for bettering of our current situations. And when you consume, when you only use resources and you don't look for more resources, of course, biologically, let alone anything else, you're going to feel unproductive. Think about it. How many hours do you just watch videos or scroll through memes? And then you, at one point, have to question, what have I built today? What have I done? We're all experts at consuming. We've forgotten how to produce. And who wins when you forget how to produce? Well, the real producers. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Are they made for your benefit? They reward the lowest common denominator with the highest attention. Dance trends, loud arguments, mindless challenges. Those are at the very top of the algorithm, of the search results. The algorithm says, we want dopamine, and we don't care what we have to show you to trigger it. Even if you don't learn anything useful, if we keep you on this platform, if we can show you more ads and make ourselves more money, then that's exactly where they want you to be. And in fact, the least stimulating intellectually content is the most engaging. Have you ever noticed that? The Mr. Beast videos, the explosions, that's what triggers you. It's not intellectual stimuli, because that's boring. Learning triggers a different part of our brain than excitement. And if we can optimize for excitement, it's typically going to come at the cost of actual intellectual depth. I think my light just went out, so hang on one second. I don't want to plug it in right now, but maybe I'll just keep it off. Kind of like the vibes here. I'm trying to adjust my lighting here. Oh no. Hang on one second. Give me 10 seconds. All right, we're back. We are back. The camera is on right now. Sweet. We got our light back on. Meanwhile, you guys notice how we fight about politics at the dinner table? The place that's supposed to bring us together, the place that we're supposed to feel human at, sitting around the campfire per se. We're talking about politics. We're talking about the things that are purposely designed to keep us divided. Because for some reason, that unresolved conflict, which is always going to be politics, gnaws at our mind. The left versus right debates explode on your timeline. They're fueling division. Meanwhile, BlackRock and the big boys are quietly buying everything on sale. We debate whose policies help us. Well, they just smile and they swoop up assets. We're too busy arguing about red versus blue to notice that the boardroom is purple from all of their money, that both sides are corrupt. And honestly, the only answer is gray. It's thinking outside the current system to implement change within. And here's the kicker. AI is in on it. The same AI that can revolutionize our lives is actively being used to optimize your outrage. It's backing all of the algorithms. It learns what makes you angry. It tweaks it to be 100 times more intense. And then it blasts it back at you like a fire hose. It has its fingers gnawing through your brain, grabbing you, sucking you back in. You think you're raging in protest, but actually you're just another data point being glued to your screen, saying, I guess that did work. And half of the people you're interacting with may have not even existed. Dead internet theory. Think about it. You're not outraged, you're just optimized. The algorithm has logged every moment of your anger and reshaped it for maximum value. And all that fuel is being sold to the highest bidder, which is usually advertisers or public donors. Every emotional scroll you make, you're feeding their machine. And it feels sad, right? It does. It feels sad to think that the Disney story, right? The happy ending that we were told exists in school and media and all of this. It's not the case. And once you guys become enlightened like this, you can't look back. But what you can do is have now the accurate information of our reality. And that makes you make actual decisions, educated decisions. I haven't lost money on investments yet since I did this, because I understand how to be one step ahead of the general people. And that's all you need to do right now to be successful. So no wonder being involved in our space is going to make you massively rich. It's just how it works. I want you to talk about the escape, systems, and not motivation. Because the truth is this: you can't outwork a system. A hamster running on a wheel can work extremely hard, but it doesn't look and observe the fact that it's still in a cage. We've all been told just grind, just hustle really hard, right? But you know what? Working harder in a broken game just wears you out because the game's not progressing. You eventually burn out, you become broke and bitter at the system, like a friend of mine who lived on ramen noodles for years trying to meet the next arbitrary goal. Instead, you have to outsmart it. You have to create an opportunity to stick yourself in a position of excellence. While I'm doing this, I'm also ordering Chipotle, guys. I'm trying to multitask because I did like half of this live stream and now I'm redoing it because I made the mistake of not turning my microphone on. I do this way too much, and I'm kind of a little bit upset. I'm trying not to take it out on you guys, but I'm a little triggered right now, and I apologize for that. Okay, here we go. I'm getting delivery from Chipotle, guys. They're bringing it as I'm talking to you. That is true multitasking. I'm doing my Apple Pay right now. Boom, we're good to go. So now I can wrap up this live stream and have Chipotle coming. Guys, I just made today great out of you can change your version of reality, right? When I get disappointed by the fact that my stream goes out, that the world's burning down, that I see a mushroom cloud in the distance, I say, you know what? I can at least order Chipotle on my phone. And the world's going to get so much better. I see the sun rising on the other side of the mushroom cloud. And I just turn my head and I look at it and I say, the world is beautiful. And I'll probably die in 20 seconds, but I'm glad Chipotle existed while we had the opportunity to experience it. I'm going to leave my phone over here and get back to it. We have to outsmart the system. It means changing the game, guys, not just playing it faster. And the shift is honestly pretty simple. We have to stop working for money. When you trade hours equal money, that is the biggest thing that if I could erase any fact from human history, is that hours equal money. In fact, work produced equals money, right? It's not time, because you're not looking at what the time is. The time is your ability to perform a certain amount of work. And a certain amount of work is what's tied to a money value, because, right, you could get a different job and you're doing a different type of work. And at that different job, that type of work is linked to a higher amount of money. And that's why, right, you can have the same credentials and you didn't change as a person, but a different job is producing a different amount of money because it has a different importance, a different value. So really the question is, how do we take and produce as much value as we can to make as much money? Because value is really the thing driving the amount people are paying. Well, we have to create leverage. And AI is amazing, guys, because we don't have to use other people's labor and essentially, put them to work for us to make more money. That used to be the old way of doing it. That's why corporations exist. But now you can use AI and not, demean people, right, to get more work done. And you could work AI as hard as you want. And it can work 24 hours a day. It doesn't even need to sleep or go home. And so, of course, that's how you're going to win. Think of leverage like a lever or a levered machine. One small push moves a massive weight. Right now, technology is our lever. AI is outsourcing your thinking. Automation is earning while you sleep. Right now, I have automated tools putting out content for me. You guys just can't see them because they're automated. They're working for me. So I can be sitting here talking to you and it's making everything happen. Systems are compounding your efforts. When used right, these tools turn 1 hour of work into 10 hours of results. For example, when I first dove into entrepreneurship, guys, I realized that nobody can out hustle the code. I can make the perfect landing page, but you know what? An AI could design the same website, and it could do it in a tenth of the amount of time as I could. I started writing blog posts with AI help. I started putting out content, my daily newsletters, by using AI to write the beef of the content while I gave the idea behind the content. And it set up affiliate programs. Suddenly I was waking up, I was walking into just money every day. I just opened my phone, money. Check the app again, more money. Check the app again, more users, because AI is also marketing for me. Check the app again. People are responding to my email that AI also wrote. AI is doing the work for me. My life's getting easier because I understand how to create leverage with it to take away labor that I would have to do. And I'm not making someone else do it and being unethical, but I'm doing it myself. And money I didn't have to physically work for at 3 a.m. I could make money at 3 a.m. without having to trade my time in. Because again, I wasn't paying attention to that old formula, the broken formula of thinking that time is equal to money. In fact, a lot of people are going to always think time is equal to money. You know why? Because school teaches us that, and school is wrong. And unfortunately, if it comes down to being or having that person, I'd rather have someone that believes time is money work with me and at least pay them a fair wage for it rather than try to change their belief if they're just going to call me a conspiracy theorist and ignorant and not be able to get through to them. You know, at least those people are going to continue to fill the jobs while we try to escape it. And as much as I'd love to change their perspective, a lot of times, guys, I just can't. And so I need to find people that are still malleable like you, that have the opportunity to think critically and say, well, maybe this guy has a point. Maybe the logic he's using is actually connecting to something inside of my skull. And I think it is. That's exactly what our digital syndicate is. The community of people, right, that we've created a space. It's called the Digital Syndicate. If you go to the link in my bio, you'll see a free community and you'll see the Digital Syndicate. The free community is where you learn how to make a social media account, how to create content, how to get paid to make content. We pay you guys to make content of our live streams, of my footage, and put that out there. Then we also teach you how to use that to make hundreds or thousands of dollars a month selling a very simple offer that we also pre-built for you. All you have to do is put your name on it and sell it with our content, and you make money. You don't need to show your face. You don't need expensive camera studios or equipment, and you can make money as soon as tonight. The Digital Syndicate is learning how to actually do that for yourself. How do I grow a brand? How do I grow a presence and a system built around a mission, an identity, and a vision with a product that I designed myself and can sell in my own system? That's a more valuable skill, and so we're going to charge for that. Not only do you get that course, which is the main beef and potatoes, right, of the Digital Syndicate, but you can make money in the syndicate by selling your own knowledge. We charge a subscription price, a one-time price, but everyone gets access to all of the information in the syndicate. You get this database, right, of course content that's hidden from the normal world because it has to be, because it will get censored if it's out there. But if you're in the space where it's being created and amplified every day, you're going to be paying, first of all, a pretty low subscription for it, but you're going to get uncensored information. That's not going to rot your brain away. That's not going to lie to you anymore. And you're going to wonder why it's so rapid that you're seeing money come into your account. Well, when you actually start feeding it the right information, the program was never really broken. The one that they wrote in your mind was always going to function correctly. It just needed the proper input. And the input they were giving you, the stories they were telling you, were just not correct. When you have the right code, when you tweak the input properly, you're going to start wondering why the output looks like dollar bills, because that's the formula that the rich people have always used. They just didn't want you to know it existed. But inside the syndicate, we're telling you exactly what the formula is. We're essentially hypnotizing and changing the way your brain processes information and how you think about success in business. And you're going to wonder why it's so quick that you see the wins come through from it. Here's what the syndicate does. First, we have the software and the AI that multiply your output. We show you how to use the tools. We also show you how to sell this stuff, how to create offers, how to become a person that has a brand that can sell an offer. We start with your identity, who you are, what you stand for, what your vision of the world is. We figure out how to package that and push it online with content, coloring, music, what we would call a brand that will stick around and amplify you to the world. Basically a funnel to take all of the world's traffic and route it to you through a social media page. That's essentially what a brand is. Next, we tell you how to build a product around it, how to take that vision you had for the world and the way to output it and create a digital product that you can sell for money 24/7. And then finally, the fourth phase is leverage, using all the AI tools that we give you access to in the syndicate to sell that and make a crazy amount of money. And once you graduate from the core program that I built and filmed, you get access to dozens of other course creator contents. And you're paying one subscription price. It's like Netflix, guys. You get the main beef and potatoes, the Netflix originals, which is my stuff, and then you get all the other content packaged into the same subscription. And you can become a creator too. If you have a knowledge or skill set in AI, then join our free community, submit an application to be a teacher, and make money helping share this information. And we're all working together to sell the syndicate. And it's the best deal you can ever get because you make money 30% of the syndicate's value that you're selling this to other people. And of course, it's going to lead to great opportunity. And finally, obviously the affiliate stuff, the partnerships that let you earn while you promote our work. We teach people. We do the work of showing you how to go from point zero, really. It's not like point -10 to point 1,000. How to break the system and even get to level 0 where you can now even think clearly, and then taking all the information and running with it, of taking flight with it. That's something we do. And we do all of the work for you. All you have to do is take the link and you put it in your bio and then get paid to make content to promote it in our free community, and you make money too. So there's a level for any stage of this process. And obviously, the most important part is the network, our covert network. It's access to others quietly building under the radar, either using my brand and making a bunch of money, doing it for other people and being their content machine with AI, running whole marketing agencies with AI because we teach them how. And so you grow together, learning the secrets, having someone hold your hand so you get to 10K, 30K a month way faster than the year or 2 you think it's going to take you. And you're not working against each other. You can partner up, make your own businesses. This is the place to do it. This isn't hype, it's strategy. And if something in you jumped, if you felt something in your gut when I said this, then good. That was the point. That's our old programming glitching out. It feels uncomfortable. Can I trust these people? Can I trust this guy talking to me? Does he know what he's saying? Well, if this guy built and sold a business to an investor, which I did, Daredevil Athletics, look it up. You guys can see I've been through this process. I built a business. I had to figure out how to market, how to create a good product, how to position that, how to create affiliates, how to grow social media. I've already sold a physical products business, and then I created Ascend to teach you guys how to build your own businesses using digital technology, using AI, using things that didn't exist when I started in a physical business. And you can take this in any industry. Your old program's glitching out because you don't want to believe that this is the reality, that the 19-year-olds driving the Lamborghinis were actually 19-year-olds driving Lamborghinis, because they did it, because they took action when you simply couldn't. When people like me spoke to them, they went into my bio, they clicked on the link, they paid $17 to get an $80,000 education that will outweigh anything you're going to learn in college, because they understood that that is the highest leverage you'll get. $17 for $80,000 is the best return you'll ever get. Not only that, but the time you're going to spend going through college versus the money you'll make coming out of college being way less than the money you make with this education. I promise you that. That's why we have a money back guarantee. You're going to start to realize that the system wasn't meant for you. And you're kind of going to get pissed off the deeper you get involved with this, because you're going to realize, why didn't you do this sooner? Why didn't you try to educate yourself and find people that could do this with you way sooner? Well, maybe people like me didn't even exist. Maybe people like me thought that the system was fine. But in the recent years, I've realized it's not. And there's other ways to learn more accurate information without the filter, the guise of giving into the way systems want you to. And when you have the pure, unfiltered knowledge, you're not going to be sick anymore. You're going to be healthy. You're going to be strong. And you're going to be producing cash faster than ever. You're functioning at 60% because 40% of your knowledge is lies. Imagine 100% being truth. Most people are going to shrug. They're going to hear this. They're going to scroll on. But not you. You're still here. So if it hits something tonight inside you, then listen. Because the tingle is your old operating system breaking apart, cracking. It's screaming, you know what? Maybe he's on to something. And I am, because we've seen success. Read our reviews. Look at our community. See that other people have participated and gotten change out of this. And here's my call to action, guys. Join the syndicate. It's $17 a month. You can cancel anytime. It's only going to go up. So really, if you keep this membership, it's going to go up in value as we get more content. It's like a stock, right? You're investing early. And trust me, once you're inside, you'll see exactly why they never wanted you to be. This is the back door. This is the shortcut, the hack that you've heard so much about. This is the underground channel, the path that they never tell you about. Because it didn't exist for me. I'm sad I didn't have this opportunity. I had to go create it myself. We're not breaking the old script. We're just rewriting it. This isn't a TED Talk. This isn't some motivational pep talk, guys. This is the truth. And the truth feels good once you realize that it isn't misleading you anymore. Once you found something that you can actually believe in. This is migration from mediocrity to mastery of yourself, of your decisions, but most importantly of your future. And guess what? We've already started. This is already proven. You can see that other people are participating in it. You're not the first person to take the leap. And therefore, that's why I'm so confident in telling you that it works. We've already started walking that path. I've made my life focus this, and there's definitely space for you. The syndicate isn't coming tomorrow. It's here right now. It's growing. And to be honest, if you don't take action, the people that are inside will. And you're going to wonder why it's getting harder and harder on the outside. Why staying stuck in this system of lies and then seeing other people win, driving Lamborghinis inside the digital syndicate, is going to be pissing you off. Well, you didn't pay $17. You wanted that Chipotle bowl, and you couldn't pay the money to make a change in your life. In that case, I can't help you because that is ignorance, my friend. And so I ask, in this opportunity, before it gets to that point, join us. I'm reaching out. I want your success. I see the potential that you have inside. I'm just asking if you do as well. If somebody has looked deep inside you and said, do we remember to give a shit about this person? Do we remember to care about the person holding the phone? Did that person matter? Because the only person that can answer that truly is that person holding the phone, is the person that's hearing my words right now. You know whether or not you care. Whether or not all these lies that if you told yourself, I'm going to lock in, it's going to be successful. And you wonder why. Because reality's been tinted and you haven't had the actual formula yet. That's going to make you mad. And if it is, good. Because that's exactly the person that is listening. And if you listen now, you're so close to making the right decision. And I guarantee that if you do, and if you have the guarantee that we'll give you your money back if you're not happy, that is enough to convince you to try. Because me cutting all of these, conveniences to make it as simple as possible for you, if that isn't enough, then you were never meant to see success. I'm sorry. Because risk is inherent in everything that we do. And if you can't risk $17, how are you going to risk 17,000 to make $1 million? Do you understand what I'm saying? There's levels to this game, and this is the entry code. This is scratching the surface. This is not even playing the game yet. And so I'd ask that you consider this decision with weight, because the decisions you make now set the example and the precedent for the bigger decisions to come. There will only be more difficult decisions once you start the syndicate. Because once you start real business, once you have the opportunity to see the money that could come in, that's when you have to start choosing whether to invest dramatically. Not just your money, but your time and your energy. When you actually have hundreds or thousands of dollars and you can decide to place that for bets at $1 million, that's when real business exists. That's why entrepreneurs get the reputation they have. That's why people want to be them, because they get to play with the big bucks. But with that comes the respect and the admiration for taking on the risk. And so those behaviors, they compound from the decision that you're about to make right now. If you don't want the syndicate, that's fine. But the people that do, I already know have passed the first test. Otherwise, it would be completely free. The decision is yours. I believe in you guys, and I wish the best for all of you. I'll be back tomorrow with another podcast. Hit the button, like, subscribe, and help us grow and put our message out further. My name is Caleb Schilke. I've done all of this for you, and I truly care about you. And as I'll say every single time, I'm rooting for you. Take care.